Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are very pleased to welcome our very first King of Hate special guest. And he is a man, like we said before, of many talents, and he is here with us today for an exclusive King of Hate interview. His name is TheAireaid Lord.
How are you?
I am doing very well. Welcome to the King of Hate podcast. Nice, make yourself at home. Tea and biscuits are over on that side, all there, all the refreshments. So you're the very first special guest. How do you feel about being on the podcast?
It's awesome. It's really cool. I think it'll be good for you guys, and to have a chain of special guests. And I'm very happy to be the first one.
That's good. So, to anyone that doesn't know who you are, just describe who are you? Who is the Aireaid Lord?
Sure. Well, I'm a YouTube commentator. I'm an author, and most people know me from YouTube. And I have a channel, which is youtube.com/TheAireaidLord. That is spelled TheAireaidLord. It is an odd spelling. I know I made up the name myself, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to spell it and type it in and find it. But it's a channel I started in December of 2010 with a couple of walkthrough videos for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the channel at the time. I was inspired by a couple of different things, one of them being Darkside Phil, one of them being, just other people, one of them, just being myself because I needed something almost like just like a scapegoat at the time, just something for my personal life to keep me occupied. And I started with some walkthroughs, and then I moved to playthroughs because the walkthroughs kind of got boring because I didn't really have anything to occupy myself with. Because, there's only so much I can do with a walkthrough. Like, I wasn't like a master of Call of Duty where I could get, like, amazing gameplay. So I eventually had to do playthroughs of new games coming out. And, that's basically what the channel is about in a brief sense.
So, your username is a very interesting name. It's the Aireaid Lord. And where did that name, come from? And how long have you been using it for, etc.?
The Aireaid Lord comes from the science fiction novel which I wrote. I started writing it in 2006. I'll talk more about it later in the podcast, but the Aireaid Lord is a name of a leader. The Aireaids are aliens in the book. They're like the evil aliens, and the Aireaid Lord is basically the master. Like, he's a lord. That's the title. Like, there's the lords, and then there's the colonels and stuff. So the Lord is the top title that you can have. It's the leader of all the Aireaids. So the Aireaid Lord is the villain of the book. His name is Aireaid Lord Augatine. That's the villain of the Orb series. And that's where the name came from. And the Aireaids are a huge part of the book. And when you read it, if you read it, you'll see how they connect to the entire story.
He's basically like the king, am I correct?
Yeah, basically like the king. He has, councilmen that he has to consult with. But he's basically like a king, yeah.
This sounds like a really interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, it started, I don't know if you guys want to wait for me to explain it, or if you want me to just explain it right now, or...
I will wait.
Yes, we have quite a lot of questions regarding the novel. We have a whole big, big massive questionnaire on it. But obviously people do know you from your YouTube, but and you'd play video game playthroughs and stuff. So what particular video games do you play, enjoy? What genres of video games do you not touch? Etc.
Sure. Well, it's basically I have a philosophy on the channel. I tell people I don't play every single game that comes out. I only play games that I'm interested in. So if it's maybe like an Assassin's Creed, or if it's, I don't know, BioShock maybe, I know the new BioShock's coming out, something like that, then I'll play it. Or if it's a game that a lot of my fans are requesting, then I'll play it. But like this year, for example, there have been games that have come out that I haven't touched, like Azura's Wrath and what was it, Blades of Time. There are a couple of games I have not played this year, and some people have been like, "Oh, why don't you play it?" Well, again, not many people recommended that I play it, and B, I don't have $700 to go out and spend on all these games. I mean, it's difficult because I don't use GameFly. I use GameStop. I go out to GameStop. It's really close to me. And I'll basically trade in the games that I complete. As soon as I beat the campaign and review the game and give it a score, then I'll trade it into GameStop. and then that will go towards credit for the next game that I buy. So I usually get my games at like $40 a pop once all of the charges are taken down and stuff. So it's a pretty good deal that I have. And then also my Machinima earnings are actually working pretty well, and they're actually covering a lot of the expenses for my games. So it's been working well. So that's my philosophy for games. If it's a game that a lot of people are requesting, then I'll play it. If it's a game that I really want to play, then I'll play it. Or maybe if it's a game that I want to do co-op with somebody, then I'll get it. So those are the three main things that will determine if I play games.
So will you pretty much play...
PD, I'm sorry. Give me a moment. Can I ask you a short question?
Sure.
If like you said, you don't have like $700 to buy all these games, but if you have like a renting store nearby, why I sometimes think, why not rent a game instead of buying it? If you can't compromise to buy the game, it's better to rent. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I considered doing GameFly, but I really turned against it because just of the fees and just how it worked. I didn't really think it would be necessary for myself. And also, I'm not sure what stores you can rent. I mean, I know Blockbuster, when I was younger, Blockbuster was everywhere. Now they're going out of business because they haven't stayed up with the times. So unfortunately, I can't rent a game from like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video. Those stores like don't exist. Game Crazy, all these stores that like don't exist anymore because they've just collapsed with the economy. So yeah, I mean, if I find a store that I can rent games at, I guess that would be, you know, good. And maybe the only games I would rent though would be games that only have a short campaign, like Syndicate or Binary Domain. Those two games that I played recently in March of 2012 had short campaigns, really didn't have much multiplayer, and that could be a game that I would rent. But if it's a game, let's say like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty, it's a game that I'm going to be keeping for a longer period of time, and I'm going to be playing over, you know, months. I might want to get more achievements. I might want to do fan appreciation with, you know, the matches. So that's kind of my my feeling about that.
Oh, I have another question. All right. Have there been any games that you've really like? Have there been any games that you bought that you've like kept, or any games that have been one of your favorites that you have like kept? Like, have there been any games that that you really like that you decide to keep instead
like
of
any
get rid
hidden
of?
gems, pretty much? Like you didn't expect it to be good,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you end up loving it.
Yeah, Human Revolution from 2011. I still have that game, and I actually, a lot of my fans don't know, I actually went back and completed that game on the hardest difficulty and got the achievements, just because, especially in January.
Pacifist one as well? Did you get the?
Yes, I didn't kill anybody.
Oh wow.
Yep, I got.
Let me
And,
ask you this: if you try to go for the pacifist, if you like take control of a robot and that robot kills him, that actually locks you up?
Yes, that does not count. The last stage of the game, there is when all the people. Well, I don't know if this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler
Oh, okay,
alert.
spoiler for anyone that hasn't beat it yet.
Yeah, but there's a room, like when all the people go crazy on the ice rink in the Arctic Ocean, when you go to hit the laboratory, you can actually hack a turret, and the turret will kill the crazy people, because since you can't kill anybody, there's just like this fucking mob of crazy people, like 30 of them, so running past them is hard. Punching them is hard because then all the other guys run after you. Shooting them with a stun pistol is kind of hard. So it was difficult, so I tried hacking the turret and having that kill them, but that doesn't count, so I had to revert my checkpoint and do it again. So no.
Let me tell. Does actually reverting to your checkpoint actually save you? Because I went to the.
It does.
It does? Oh well, cool. Shit, I didn't know that. Because when I went to the wiki, I checked on the achievement, said it couldn't be reverted, so I said, fuck it. I was like 2/3 of the way finishing the game, and I just started killing people, and I was fuck. I just lost the pacifist achievement.
So,
No, they're
God
retarded. You shouldn't believe like a wiki link. I mean, I just tried it. It was the last mission before you go fight Zhao Yunrun, so I was like, you know what? I'll just give it a shot. I'll kill Zhao really quickly, and then I got it. I got the achievement for beating it on the hardest difficulty. Then I killed her again, and I'm like, wait a minute, why didn't I get the second achievement? So I'm like, oh wait a minute, I got to go back and do it. And then I got pacifist, so it did work.
So, Aireaid Lord, you've mentioned multiple times now that you have a YouTube channel. That's how you're most known. Thought I'd ask you, what's the backstory behind that? How did you get involved with watching people on YouTube? What was that moment that inspired you to decide to make a YouTube channel?
Well, it was a combination of a couple of different things. Number one, it kind of comes into contact with stuff in my personal life, and a philosophy I have on the channel is that I don't reveal anything about my personal life. I mean, obviously there are other commentators that make it very personal. I mean, even Phil. I mean, Phil's life is revolved around video gaming, so people know about a lot of what he does, but there's also stuff that they don't know. But for me, basically, there were things going on in my life in 2010 that were just very troublesome for me, and I kind of needed something to fill that gap. So a YouTube channel, after watching people like Darkside Phil, I had been watching his content since 2008. I participated in a couple of things, like I sent questions in, he answered it. Like I think in 2009 he answered one of my questions, in 2010 he answered a question. And then I think at the end of 2010 I made a remix for him, and then I was in multiple fan appreciation matches with him in early 2011. But yes, he was one of my inspirations, but I don't want it to be like a blind inspiration. It's not like, oh, he's the reason why I started YouTube. No, it's a combination of filling the void in my life, trying to give me some, more purpose. I did write the book, but I didn't have an imprinted copy at the time. So it was meaning for me. I wanted to share it with friends, so that was the main reason. And then the second part is obviously being, inspired by Darkside Phil. So that's how the channel came about in its creation.
So when you first started making videos, did you aspire to be as entertaining as Phil, or were there other YouTubers that you wanted to kind of copy their sort of style, or did you want to make entirely your own style?
Well, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like I mentioned earlier, I started doing walkthroughs because I didn't know what to do, because at the start people were like, oh, if you want a successful YouTube channel, people like walkthrough videos. So I'm like, all right, well, I know how to get the skin in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Let me show you how to do that. So, it was a really shitty video. It was all off-angled. It was with a camcorder that I don't use anymore, and it was really, really bad. It was 3 videos, and they did pretty well. Some people commented, and I was like, oh, thanks for the comments. And then I did a Halo Reach one where there's some annoying achievement in Halo Reach where you gotta like jump on an elite and it never works because it's glitched on some level. So I was trying to help people with it, how to get it. And then I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like I know I wanted to, try to immerse myself more in the Darkside Phil world, so I made that We Didn't Start the Fire remix, which unfortunately I can't link you to that because I have it set to private, because since I'm with Machinima now, I can't show copyrighted music, so I have it on private, so unfortunately I can't show you that video. So sorry guys, it already has like 8,000 views, so most people have already seen it.
Well, an interesting thing is I actually did remember watching, like whenever it was brand new, I remember watching that, and I never knew that you made it. I was like, oh my gosh, he actually, like, that's something that I just discovered there now. That's pretty interesting, because I had like the reel of all the games that you played during the year, and I had like the cut to thingy from hitting the desk or something with like the flames in the background. I had no idea that you made it, so that's pretty interesting.
But wait a minute, Aireaid. You have a Facebook account, am I right?
I don't really want to say that I do. I do have one, but it's my own personal one. And
okay. Because if you have one that's connected to the name Aireaid Lord, I was gonna suggest that you should upload that video that you made onto your Facebook, so it won't conflict with the one with YouTube and your Machinima partnership.
Well, only if you would make like a public one, like a public Aireaid Lord account, but at the same time,
well, only if the demand was great. I mean, not many people are demanding it. That's old. I mean, that was almost a year ago. So I mean, if the demand was up for it, maybe I would. But not many people are asking for that. Most people are asking for new gameplay videos, and they're asking the most common question I get is, when are you going to play with Darkside Phil? That's always the fucking question I get. When are you going to play with Darkside Phil? I don't know. He has his own fucking life. I don't know.
So, Aireaid Lord, you mentioned that you are currently partnered with Machinima.
Yes.
How did you? Because you've been on YouTube for a while, so I assume you've strived to make your video quality better, tried to make yourself more entertaining. So how did get into that Machinima partnership? Was that an aim for you? How did that come about? Did you approach them? Did they approach you?
Well, what happened was, it was pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know if you want to start with the story of how I became friends with Phil first, because that kind of connects to it, because I found the contact he's the recruiter for Machinima for the United States. His name is Rishi Chadha, and Phil's friend Koro Chado, I don't know if you know who he is. I've talked to Pete about him a little bit. Koro Chado is a friend of Phil's that he knows through Street Fighter, and I played with him during some of the co-op we did, like the Resurrection Map Pack, Uncharted, and he got partnered by Machinima, and I'm like, whoa, how the hell did you do that? You know, you only have like 2,000 subscribers, and I have around the same number as you. How did you do it? So I asked, and he sent me the link, this guy's Twitter account, Rishi Chadha, and basically all you do is you send him a message, and he's like, okay, send me an email with your channel link. I explained to him what I did. You know, I explained to him that I use a camera, I don't use HTBR, PVR, I have this whole setup. And he emailed me back, and he's like, all right, you're in the partnership, and then I have to sign all the legal stuff, all of the tax forms and all that stuff. And a lot of that stuff I can't disclose. I'm not at liberty to discuss a lot of the, like, how the partnership works and stuff. But basically, I got
Phil say that as well.
Yeah, I got partnered at the end of January, and basically January, I think, what was it, 27th, 2012, I'm officially a Machinima partner, and now I have logos, I have connections through it. They've actually just offered me a live streaming before anyone else gets it, so I'm thinking about doing it. I mean, it's like the YouTube live streaming, so partners get first dibs on it. So I don't know. I don't really use live streaming, so I don't know how that would be any worth to me. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then obviously I make money off of it, but I can't explain how much I make. But yeah, it's awesome. It's a good deal.
It's understandable. I mean, you get a lot of people on YouTube that are so interested in how much YouTube partners make, and it's just like you wouldn't walk up to into a Burger King, go up to the till and says, "Excuse me, how much do you earn per hour? Tell me now."
Yeah. You don't walk up to someone and just ask them like, "Hey, how much how much do you make?" Because that's
well, that's rude. YouTube people for you. They just ask you anything like, "Oh, how much do you make? Where
do you live?
What's your bank account details?
I want you to play Dark Souls."
Yeah, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls, man.
So we've talked about what you made in the past and what you led up to this moment. So what are you doing on the channel at the moment?
Well, right now, actually later today, I have a friend coming over. The first friend I've had like as a live guest since December when I played with my little brother. Teddy is coming over, and what are we doing? We're doing Modern Warfare 3 DLC, the shitty DLC. Dear. It's the only thing it's the only thing I could play with him. I was going to do Operation Raccoon City because, well, I don't know if I should say this, but basically there was an argument with another commentator I had, and basically, yes, Pete knows it. There were three guys trying to coordinate our schedules, and it just wasn't working out because they were unprepared and unorganized and immature. So basically that ended in a fiery death. So basically I'm trying to find people to play Operation Raccoon City with, but it's not split screen, so I couldn't do it with my friend. So I'm going to do Modern Warfare 3 DLC with him tonight. So that should be fun. That's what's coming up on the channel right now. Other than that, there's really not that much. I think towards the end of the month I'll have my next fan mail series. The fan mail is almost like I don't like to compare myself to Phil, but it's like an Ask the King where people send questions.
Copying DSP.
Yeah.
Copying DSP copyright.
Yeah, basically. I mean, but it's different. I mean, people send them on Xbox or PlayStation. Each episode I alternate. Like episode 1 was on 360, episode 2 was on PS3, and then I alternate. So I just tell people to send questions, and they send the questions, and I answer them. So that's one series that I have going. Another series I have is Memory Lane, where I review, not my burping. Actually, I review old things in my life. Like episode 1 was Yu-Gi-Oh! How I was extremely competitive with Yu-Gi-Oh! In early 2000s. Pretty much at the same time Phil was really competitive with Street Fighter, I was really competitive with Yu-Gi-Oh! Going to tournaments and winning money and stuff, and that lasted for a good amount of time until I sold the 5,000 cards I had collected to some guy for like $200, and then that was the end of it.
So you play games, you still do playthroughs now. You're obviously looking to do Operation Raccoon City with people. I mean, there are a few gems that seem to be coming up in the future. I mean, what games are you looking forward to playing, and will you be doing them on your channel?
Well, I think it's not next week. I'm pissed about it. I really wish it was next week. A lot of fun. Week after is Prototype 2. I'm very hyped for that. This is one of the games that I've actually played, like the original prototype. I played it in 2009. It's funny, but a lot of these games that come out, like Mass Effect 3, I never played Mass Effect 1 or 2. Crysis 2, I never played the original Crysis. So there are a lot of games that I'm doing now that I have a channel that people are suggesting that I've never played. I've never played the original version of these games. So, yeah, I mean, Prototype 2 is one of them. Assassin's Creed 3 is another. I'm really hyped for it now that I've seen the exclusive footage from PAX East, which nobody has seen except people who have gone to PAX East. And then there's BioShock Infinite. The game that I'm looking forward to the most, Grand Theft Auto 5. I will be playing that game like forever. Like you will not see any existence of me when that game comes out. I will be playing it.
You're just gonna know life the entire game for a week, basically.
Yep, I'm gonna go to the midnight release. I'm actually thinking of going to like one of the major cities, like New York or something. I'm gonna go to the midnight release. I'm gonna get it, do an unboxing, get the collector's edition, and then play it. Just blow through it. Maybe play it with some friends, and all that stuff. So I'm extremely hyped for that game.
So we talked about the future. Lastly, where do you want to go with your channel? Because you're fairly successful. You've got a good following. You make decent videos. Where do you see yourself going in the future?
I don't know. That's the hard thing. I mean, let me be honest. A lot of people know how old I am. I'm only 17, but people seem to have this perception that I'm like 39 years old or 29, a lot of people think I'm as old as Phil, and I think one of the reasons for that is because I don't show my face on YouTube. Every gaming update or channel update, whatever I make, I shoot it at my TV screen. I don't shoot it at myself just because it's work. Like, that's what I did. Like, in 2011, I didn't want my face on YouTube, and when I made updates, I put them on my TV screen. Now that my face is up on YouTube, like Phil caught it at Magfest and stuff. That was really the first time people saw my face. So people have briefly seen my face, and I guess, I don't know if Pete is going to include the photo of me and Phil at Magfest where he was promoting the book. I don't know if that photo will be on here, so then you'll really know what I look like. But since I'm only 17, I mean, I'm going to be going to college next year. I just want you guys to understand this. So it's going to be really hard for me to transition to now having to cope with college and now the channel because, I'm going to have to choose. I mean, is my book going to take off? Is that going to be the thing I focus on and video gaming is going to go away? I'm always going to be a gamer. I'll never give up on video gaming. It's always going to be a hobby. It's always going to be something I love doing. But definitely when I go to college, like probably late 2013, you're probably going to see a decline in the rate of footage. Like, I'm not going to be doing full playthroughs. It's going to be very sparsely populated with videos. I will do playthroughs every once in a while, like maybe when I have long breaks or vacations, I may try to do footage. One thing I have actually established is that Magfest, the gaming convention Magfest in Maryland, is always held in January, and I always have break during that period. So that is a convention I'm always going to go to. So I think if I keep up with that, keep up my relationships with Phil and his friends, I think that's going to be a big contributing factor to the channel. So the channel's still going to be active. I don't want people to freak out, be like, oh, he's going to just abandon the YouTube channel when he goes to college. No, I mean, I'm not going to be doing full game playthroughs, but I'm definitely probably going to put some footage up there here and there. So that's probably what it's going to be in the future, I guess.
All right.
Well,
All right, I have a question for you.
Go
Do you
ahead.
have any tips or advice for anyone who kind of wants to get into
Wait,
the?
I actually asked him this.
walk-
It's a pretty funny question. I actually asked him this in his latest, viewer questions, and it was the very last question that he asked, and that he answered on the third part of it. But you could answer it again here anyway.
But anyways, do you have any tip or advice for anyone who wants to get into the whole playthrough or walkthrough thing on YouTube, like make videos like gameplay videos and stuff?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I wouldn't suggest, like, a lot of people have this blind perception that, okay, if I'm going to be popular, what am I going to play? Okay, well, let's look at the games that have come out that are really popular. Oh, Call of Duty, that's a popular game. Let me do 1,000 fucking montages of me throwing a knife in the air and seeing if it hits people and seeing how many views I get. It's like, no, I mean, there are so many people who already have that on YouTube. There's probably like 10,000 plus videos of people doing that. Nobody wants to see it. So in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why I chose to do playthroughs. It's always going to be new. People are always going to be searching for it. So if they come across your stuff and they think you're funny because you're adding your commentary to it, then it works. It's a win-win. I mean, that's great if you want to do Call of Duty stuff. I mean, you can do it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's hard. It's not easy as it was maybe 4 years ago when the only game you had was, World at War and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1? I mean, once Modern Warfare 2 came out, that was when it jumped. That's when people started just going for it full force for all of this stuff, the montages and, especially the Infinity Ward situation with the lead guys getting laid off. It was in the news. It was a big deal. So people went on the bandwagon and started making videos. You look at the people who are popular with Modern Warfare commentaries. Look when they started. It was around the time of 2008, 2009. I guarantee it, almost every single one. And it's for that reason. That's when Call of Duty really started to take off. When Modern Warfare 2 came out, that's when it started to take off. And then people moved into Black Ops, and now they've moved on to Modern Warfare 3, and eventually Black Ops 2, if it's even going to be called that. So, honestly, doing the Call of Duty stuff, or Halo stuff, or any of this multiplayer stuff, it's boring at this point. It's very trite, overused. I don't think it's worth it. Now, if you want to, make popular videos, one thing I can suggest is collaborating with other commentators. And no, I don't mean, ask them 100 times and be like, hey, can you be in my video? Help me, help me, help me. No, that's not what I mean. Do it in a polite way, or try to at least start out on your own. I mean, don't just directly go to somebody and ask them to be in a video or have them be in your videos. I would say start out on your own, build your content so you have a history so people can see it. Always be yourself. Always be honest. I mean, if you're honest and you're yourself, I mean, you really can't go wrong, okay? People don't like people who are fake. I hate people who act on YouTube and try to just act like they're funny and try to be funny. I hate people like that. So if you're very natural, if you're very cool about it, if it just comes out, people will like you and they will want to watch your videos. And I know a lot of people will say, oh my god, it's so hard, there's so many people on YouTube. Well, it's just the way it goes. You just have to try. It's just how it works, all right? I don't control YouTube. I don't control who watches the content. That's what I can suggest about it.
All right. Okay, I got a question for you since Hazzer decided to jump immediately to the YouTube part section. What kind of video games do you like to play? What are the main genres, and what kind of consoles do you own?
I own an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, Wii. Am I missing anything? A PlayStation 1, but I sold it, and it's in a trash heap. Let's see. A Nintendo 64, which my grandparents now own. I don't know why they own it.
Just playing a bit of Super Mario 64 there.
Well, because the thing is, they were retired somewhere, and they had it, and there was this little kid who lived near them that liked to play it, so they had it, and that's why. Because I didn't play it anymore, so I gave it to them like in the late '90s because I didn't need it, and then they had it, and yeah. I also I think I have the Atari 2600, but oh my god, I think that thing's broken. It doesn't work. So
and what are the main game genres you play?
Well, my favorite video game, I don't know if anyone's going to ask this, but I'll just say it. My favorite video game of all time is the Jak and Daxter series. That was my first PlayStation 2 game. Before that, I was mainly a PC gamer, which is kind of hard to believe. I was really into games like Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, and some of these other real-time strategy games. I was really into it, and that combined with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was basically my two main hobbies at the time. But when I got the PlayStation 2, it came with a free copy of Jak and Daxter, and I really got into that. I liked the action-adventure. I liked the style of gameplay. So action-adventure puzzle games are really my favorite. I feel like those kind of games are losing out nowadays. Like Uncharted 3, I didn't really like it that much, even though it's an action-adventure puzzle game. It really didn't feel that awesome to me. It really just kind of felt, kind of boring. But I know a lot of people would argue with that and call me an asshole for saying that, but that's just my opinion. But, yeah, I mean, first-person shooters, they're okay. Everything's copying everything nowadays. Call of Duty is the same shit every year. So I guess first-person shooters are fun, Halo 3, I mean, I played that game all the time when it came out in 2007, 2008, because Halo 2 was what got me hooked on the Xbox. In 2004, my friends showed it to, or, I don't know, wait a minute, it wasn't 2004, it was 2006, yes, 2006, it was 1 year before Halo 3 came out. They showed me the copy of Halo 2, and at the time there was a store. It was called Airport Video. It doesn't exist anymore because obviously with Xbox Live and PlayStation Network it doesn't need to exist anymore. It was basically a game shop which supported, you know, local system link play. So back when the PlayStation 2 and Xbox were popular, they would have all these systems set up, and you could play with your friends, you could hang out, you could go drink, or you could do something fun, and basically just have a fun time and do all that interactive stuff. So that store doesn't exist anymore, but yeah, that's how I got introduced to first-person shooters and RPGs. I'm not really into them that much. I mean, Fallout 3 is probably one of my favorite games, but I don't really play it like an RPG. I always try to make the outcome be something what the game developers were aiming for. Like, I don't really like the fact that you can make your own story. I want the game developer to make a story for me. That's why I paid $60. So that's not, I don't really believe in the RPG, MMO, that whole MMO RPG, whatever the fuck it's called. So I don't really believe in that. So action adventure, first person shooter. Am I missing anything? Third person shooters are okay.
Wait, fighting games.
Am I missing any genres?
Fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, etc.
Oh my god. The funny thing about that, I actually had no idea Street Fighter existed until Darkside Phil started playing it. I didn't even know what it was. Like, all of a sudden I see Street Fighter, I see Evo, and I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit? People are actually competitive with this stuff. And then I hear there's a whole history behind it. There's leagues, there's this guy fucking Triforce making leagues out of stuff. Oh my god, I mean, it's competitive. It's and I compare it to Yu-Gi-Oh, how I was really competitive with Yu-Gi-Oh, and people would, trash talk in the Yu-Gi-Oh industry. It's just another industry, just like Yu-Gi-Oh. So, even though it's a card game,
same here.
Yu-Gi-Oh game, so
Yeah.
I have to completely agree with you in the fact that I had no idea Street Fighter existed until DSP, and then I actually did pick it up, and I actually started playing it, and I actually started really getting into fighting games, and that was pretty much a case where DSP really did inspire me to do something I otherwise would have never thought about doing. So it's kind of interesting, and I do agree with you, yeah, that it's very competitive. There's a lot of competitivity going along, especially with nations clashing, like Japan and America. They're always clashing and stuff, especially with Korea and stuff, just being thrown in Taiwan. A bunch of countries are really competitive with it. But anyway, people would know you from your YouTube channel, but they would also know you for something that not many YouTubers can say that they've done, and that you have actually written a book and published it and all by yourself. So to anyone that doesn't know the book is called The Orb. And to anyone that has no idea what the heck the Orb is, can you please give a small synopsis of what the Orb is, pretty much?
Sure. It's a 330-page science fiction novel that I started writing when I was in 6th grade, and it was originally a writing prompt that we had to do based on this really shitty movie that came out in the 1950s, and we had to make our own story based on it. So I did a story about, the movie was Journey to the Center of the Earth, but it's not the 2008 version. It's the 1950s version with these actors who are probably all fucking dead and rolling over and over.
What a scary thought.
Yeah, so, movies actually did exist in the 1950s, believe it or not, but, so we had to do a writing prompt on this movie, and I really liked the story. I did well on the assignment, and I really liked it, and over the past 5 years, I just kept working with it, and at first I didn't really realize that I was writing a book. A lot of people are like, oh, did you have the goal of writing this book in mind? It's like, no, I was just kind of writing a story, because ever since I was little, I remember when I was 2 years old playing with Thomas the Tank Engines, fucking making them crash and stuff and making my own stories. That was fun for me back then, The old Thomas, the 80s, 90s Thomas, that was what I watched when I was little, and I played with that stuff, and then it evolved into, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I would make stories out of that, then I would make stories out of, the video games. So anything with a good story is what compels me and stuff, and that's part of the reason why I had you put up that music theme. It has driving emotion in it, that you feel when you watch these great stories. When you watch a great story like Jack and Daxter where you're immersed in it, maybe you watch The Dark Knight, which is a great movie by Chris Nolan, one of my favorite movies of all time. So anything with a great story is really what captivates me, and that's what I wanted to bring out in my book. So the book is The Orb. Actually, let me see. I'm going to get a copy right here. I'll read you the back cover if you want. It's a summary of the book. So the summary goes, Noah, oh my god, I messed up the name. Noah Jefferson has it all. Fame, power, money, and a huge mansion. It's all thanks to his father who leads the world in aleontology, the study of extraterrestrial beings. But Noah feels out of place. Even though he has everything he could ever want, he still feels like he doesn't belong in his school, in his house, in his world. But that suddenly changes when his father gives him a special book called Orb. After reading it suddenly whisks him away to a place far away. Now Noah must deal with new feelings of hatred and anxiety and solve a conflict he didn't even know he belonged in. So that's basically a summary of the book. It's on the back cover. And that took 6 years to write. 330 pages. You can buy it on TheAireaidLord.com, and I can ship it to you via PayPal if you're interested in buying a copy. A lot of my fans have actually purchased it. There are some fans from Ohio, some from Illinois who have actually purchased books. It's really cool that I have international fans. You know, OJ bought a copy, Phil has a copy. Rambo and Howard read it when they're at Phil's house, which is kind of cheap. One of them to buy it, but they're like, no, I want you to Phil's house. So I'm like, all right.
So
Right. This sounds interesting. I think I might actually buy it.
yeah, like we're all kind of interested in getting. Do you ship internationally? Like,
Yeah.
do you ship like the UK and stuff?
I could ship it to
And
the
Puerto
UK.
Rico and the Caribbean.
Yeah, the shipping
I live
rate.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh yeah. All I was gonna say is the shipping rate is might be a little higher because it's gonna be converted to the pound, since that's the currency of England. So, I mean, basically you would just have to pay for the shipping rate. I mean, for the United States it's $5, but I'm sure if it's gonna be international, it's gonna be a little more. So you just have to pay the little extra for the shipping. But the book is $15, so $15 plus whatever your shipping is.
I actually live near like where Phil is, so I guess it wouldn't be a problem to ship where I am.
Yeah, I live in New England as well, so
You could
yeah.
just, drive down to his house and pick up a copy directly from his home. Perfect.
Yeah, I could just drive by. Hey Phil, can I have a copy? Thanks.
Nope. Well, Phil's copy, I sent to him via his P.O. box. And when he did his 1 year reflection on being a full-time gamer, he showed the book because he had just received it in the mail. So that was the first time he showed it. And he's shown it on camera a couple of times, actually. He promoted it when I was going to Magfest. He promoted it in the October video. So he's actually shown a lot of it on YouTube. So
That's
yeah.
pretty interesting. I actually just watched that video again like this past week, and I just remembered that, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember he mentioned the book in the video. But whenever you were writing the book, it must have been a very lengthy process. But were all the ideas pretty much from the Journey to the Center of the Earth, or do you have any where the ideas come from, pretty much that you came up with? Like, was there any sort of thing that happened that made you think, oh, we should put that in the book, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll say right now, the concept of a bunch of guys going to the center of the Earth to find aliens, that concept is nowhere in the book. That was the starting point, and it evolved. So basically, the paper that I submitted when I was in 6th grade was, these guys go to the center of the Earth, and they find aliens in the center of the Earth. That was the concept of the paper. And then I evolved on the paper, and I changed it, and I changed the viewpoint, because originally it was from the viewpoint of an adult, but I changed it to a kid because I thought a kid I could relate to more. So I changed it to a kid. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a TV show which I think it's probably the TV show with one of the greatest stories. Like, honestly, I was really inspired by the story. I don't know if you guys seen it, Avatar: The Last Airbender on Nick. It's basically about this kid who has, these powers. It's a world that's made up by these guys. But I was really inspired by that type of fighting. So you'll see in the book there's energy called light energy, and it's basically a power that Noah has through these spiritual artifacts. Because basically in the book there is a race called the spirits who are basically evolved. So in our society, they talk about evolution, how humans started from a chimpanzee or an ape and they evolved and stuff. Basically, in my book, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but basically the highest form of evolution that you can possibly be in the book is a spirit. And a spirit is where you control all of your surroundings. Basically, you can, use telekinesis, you can control the light energy, and really the light energy is just particles. Like, it's electrons, it's protons, it's electric energy that you use as an explosive force, as a force to attack people with. So this, the spirits died really like a long time ago. They're gods to the aliens, and the aliens worship them. So Noah gets pulled into the conflict, just like I told you on the summary, and he has a spiritual artifact, and they're gloves. He wears these leather gloves that can make this energy, and that's his fighting for the book. And I was inspired partially by the firebending from Avatar, I liked the fighting techniques that they used from, like, the Chinese martial arts, because I take a martial art. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I've been doing it since 2002. So I know how people fight martial arts, like Korean and Asian martial art fighting. So I was really inspired. I'm like, oh, that's really cool when I saw Avatar, and I see them using these techniques that I use. So I decided, I'm like, you know what, I can put that in my book. So you're going to see a lot of this fighting type that's very, very unique. It's not just a bunch of guys going, hi-yah, hi-yah. It's not, it's not cliche bullshit like you see in a lot of the movies. It's intricate, it's intricate, and it's mapped to the energy, so how the energy forms, and you have to shoot it in a specific way, and Noah has to learn how to use it at a very young age. So that's one of the fulcrum points of the book.
So, there's a lot of interesting stuff that came about, but were there any, did you like run into any like problems when writing the book and stuff? Like, was there any, or did it kind of like all just run smoothly, pretty much?
Oh, no, I mean, every writer, you'll hear, writers go through a lot to write these books, and I actually technically wrote 2 books, because the first book was based on the Journey of the Center of the Earth concept, and it was from the viewpoint of the adult, and I'm like, you know what, that doesn't really fit, let me put that aside, I'm going to work on another book. So I worked on the second book, which is The Orb, which I have in my published form right here, and it from the viewpoint of the kid. So the first book I was working on is actually going to be a prequel to this one. It's going to be the 3rd book in the series. This is a series of 5 books, I think. I'm not sure how many it's going to be yet, but I'm seeing it's going to be 5 books. So the prequel is going to be the 3rd book to give you some back history. So I am going to eventually get to that book, but I had to put it aside. So that was one of the challenges. It's challenging, especially when I was younger. I was inept at some of my writing. So it was harder for me to put words together, but now that I'm more skilled in writing in English, I think it's easier for me to put them all, put all the words together and make some good interesting phrases. And again, you'll hear many times, I don't know if you guys have already heard this, but writers write about what they feel and what they see in their world. You'll read, the Edgar Allan Poe, you'll read the Washington Irvings. These are classic writers from the Romantic Age who wrote about things that went on in their lives. So I'm writing about what's going on in my life. Deception. It's just, it's awesome. And one of the things I think I can't wait for is to write the sequel to this book, because there's a concept in the second book where basically, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's basically a guy who kills people just for fun. Like, he does it just for fun, but he has a reason for it. He kills them for fun, but he has a reason for it. And it's very perverse. It's very evil. It's a very dark, dark book that's very evil. And you'll see how my feelings that I felt, like when I was in school and I was being tortured and bullied and stuff, how that kind of shows in my writing. So that's basically something that I think a lot of people are going to feel that's cool. And that's another reason why I opened the YouTube channel. People were basically harassing me, and, no one cared about me and my frickin', where I was going. So I felt as if, a YouTube channel would help me build bonds and make other friends like Darkside Phil. So that's a connection there for you guys.
So,
wow, this sounds like really complicated. Like, it's not just like you stood up one day and said, hey, I'm going to write a book. This really has a lot of backstory and inspiration behind it.
This is my entire life. This is who I am. This is me being young, loving stories. This is me understanding, how evil human beings can really be after being bullied and tortured. This is me understanding life and human existence as a whole. This book perpetrates that. And it really shows it in its fullest form. Once you read the entire series, it brings about a message of morality that I don't think you'll get anywhere from any book. And it's really a superb work of art, honestly, in my opinion. The book that I have made right here is basically just a prototype copy. It has, some errors and stuff in it because it's the first version. I just wanted to get it out for people to see it. Right now I'm updating it a little bit, but basically my plan is when I get to college to do internships with publishers so I can get my book out there so then I can be, a famous writer, maybe like a J.K. Rowling or stuff. But that's basically what the book means to me. It's basically my feelings about the world and stuff. And video gaming is just a hobby. Video gaming fits in there because it's something that I like, and it's just fun. It's been something that I've been doing just as an aside, because in video games you get to live the stories, you get to play the stories, you get to act the stories, and that's why I like video games. So.
Well, writing a story is one thing. You could easily just get up and write a small creative story, but it's another thing to actually go out and publish the book. So that is one thing that not many aspiring writers would dare to think about. So can you tell us what happened, how publishing the book came about, pretty much?
Yes. Well, it was basically, it's not officially published, it's more of like a self-publishing thing. I did it with a couple of people I knew over the internet because like I said, I just wanted to get it out there because my friends, my family, they all wanted to read it, so I wanted to get it out there so people knew what it was. And basically, I went on a website, and the guys made the cover for me. They made all of the stuff. What else did they do? They did the printing. I ordered 100 copies in August of 2011 for, well, I don't want to say how much it cost, but I ordered 100 copies, basically. 100 copies from the website, and I got all 100 copies, and so far I've sold a little over 60 copies.
It's pretty good.
So
well,
so
I'm definitely gonna have to buy one, maybe two.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Because I can tell you, new editions will be released of this book, and it might change a couple of things, but it's still going to be the same story. Just the writing's going to be updated. So I think it's going to be really cool. You can be like, oh, I was one of the first people who purchased his book, and look I have it signed, and or something like that. So it's going to be really rare, and people, trust me, guys, this is a huge opportunity having me on your podcast, because I can see in a couple of years when people interview me or something, this is just hypothetical, but this will be one of the first interviews I've ever done. I mean, other than the one that I did for that fucking voodoo guy, but this is pretty much one of the first ones that I've done. So.
Yes, this is the man that we interviewed all those years back.
And so have you got any reactions from people? Have you got what feedback have you been receiving from it, or has Phil read the book and has given you any feedback on it? How has the general reactions been for it?
Yes, at New York Comic Con, Phil said he read 50 pages, but at Magfest he said he forgot it all. So. But yeah, he said he's very busy and he doesn't have much time to read it, but when I sent it to him, he read 50 pages. He said he really liked it. He also said that he could tell that I self-published it because no editor actually sat down with this book and critiqued all of the stuff. This writing is pretty much from, maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I've updated in some parts. So that's a reason why I'm updating it right now, to get rid of those mistakes and stuff. But he said he really loves the story. So I would suggest when you read the book, read it for the story, which is the main reason why I have it. So that was the feedback I received from him. Some of my fans on YouTube have actually said that they love the book. One of my fans said he can't put it down. He loves it so much. So I've gotten really good feedback.
He can't put it down.
Yeah,
he's finished reading it now. It's just glued to his hand.
He could
pretty much. He obviously meant it in the way that he's really into it and he can't put it down. But
well, so you mentioned that you're going to. This is the first of a series of 5 books that you're going to make. But do you have intentions of continuing on with writing books whenever the Orb is done, and what genres of books would you like to write in the future, maybe?
Well, this one isn't really science fiction. I mean, people have this perception that my book is just science fiction. They're like, oh, what genre is it? Oh, science fiction. No, it's really its own genre. It's really an own genre of its book. It's kind of like a mix
a unique
of
one,
science.
Right?
What was that?
It's a very unique genre.
It is. It's a combination of science fiction, action adventure, fantasy, I don't know, thriller. I'm just trying to throw. It's really a unique story. I can't really describe it other than a mix between action adventure and science fiction. It's really its own mix. So, and also, I guess that's why they call you Captain Crunchy. Are you eating something?
Maybe.
I'm hearing like voice modulations coming out of his mic.
Sorry. But I do have one last question before we move on. You said you were going to release like multiple versions of the first book. Would you necessarily say that it's good to have the very first version, or would you say it's better for newcomers to read the if you do re-release it, like, better version? Like, which version do you think would be better to read?
Well, you're still pretty much getting the same story. I am critiquing, some things. Like, there is one part where I add like a group of people to the book that weren't necessarily in the first one. They were kind of mentioned, but I go into more detail. It's really me going into more detail and making sure things make sense. Like, why did that guy blow up? There's really no explanation for it. I have to explain why he blew up. Like, if he's using the spiritual energy and it blows up, well, why does it blow up? There needs to be an explanation. I don't really have much of an explanation. I kind of do, but I thought I would need to go into more detail. So it's really just polishing it off more. I mean, I really thought I had it complete when I did it, but going back, it seems like, for writers, it's always revising. I think it's like 90% revising, 10% writing. So it's a lot. I mean, I've revised this book probably like 700 times, so it takes a lot. So I would definitely suggest for people to buy the book now, because you'll A, get the first copy of it ever released, B, you'll still get the same story, and C, you'll have it, for the next one, so you can, have a reference and you'll know what's going on. So.
Okay. That's all I have to ask for the book.
So, Aireaid Lord, I, being a loyal subscriber to your channel, noticed you went to PAX East last weekend, and also you've mentioned going to Magfest. So, are you an avid gaming convention goer, or is it something that you only just started doing?
It's actually something that I've just started to do. I didn't go to any gaming conventions before. Like, my first gaming convention was Kineticon 2011, where I first met Phil. I don't know if you guys want me to wait, and I'll explain how I met Phil and became friends with him later on in the podcast. But yeah, I didn't really go to many conventions before Kineticon. I considered, since I have a growing audience on YouTube and I'm a Machinima partner, it makes sense for me to keep up on the new games and the new stuff going on. So that was kind of my thinking. Also, I don't get to see Phil other than the gaming conventions because he's so busy. I mean, I live an hour and a half away from him, and I do want to meet up with him. I do have plans for that during the summer, but other than that, because he and I are so busy, it's so hard for us to meet. So going to these conventions like Magfest and New York Comic Con is really the only way we can hang out. So that's another reason why I've been going to the conventions more.
So, would you say that those are your main reasons for attending? I mean, what is it that you want? Is it for content for your channel? Like, what do you think your viewers are interested in? Are they interested in the games? Are they interested in literally just what the convention's about? Interested in, like, say for PAX East, interested in like the big news releases that happen?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a combination. I mean, people were really interested in the new games, like Assassin's Creed 3. Nobody could film it, but I took footage of the place where they were showing it. So I got like 10,000 views on the video, and of course a lot of people were like, oh, thanks, at least you tried. And then some people were like, oh, why are you uploading this video to your channel? It has nothing to do with your fucking channel, and all you're doing is being a cock tease because basically you're showing content that is not going to be released yet. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, actually, not necessarily in the British accent. I do apologize.
Yeah,
But,
No, it was actually quite great.
It's a good accent.
It was actually quite good.
yeah, I did that in one of my gaming updates, and people, that's another thing people request. Ever since I did that in my gaming update like 2 weeks ago, people are like, oh, do another British accent. It's like, I'm not trying to insult people, it's just a joke. So yes, to get back to the gaming conventions, yeah, people were asking about, the new games, and that's something that I think drives the views and stuff. People also like to just see me. Like I do like vlog videos of me traveling in the car, and people like to see that because since I'm so secretive with my personal life, people probably like to see a lot of that stuff that goes on with me and stuff like that. So people enjoy that as well. And yeah, I mean, just to film my friends and just show us having a good time is the other thing. So those three things are pretty much what I like going to the conventions for. You know, it's something to do. It brings the whole channel together. Maybe if subscribers are in the area, they can go and meet me at these things. And yeah, that's why I go.
That sounds pretty cool. So as I mentioned before, we know, well, I know anyway, that you went to PAX East last weekend. And we actually got a question from Phil himself. I'll say that right now. But I was interested too. What was the best things about PAX East? Would you say, like, what games looked the best? What was mainly interesting about the convention itself?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny Phil asked that question. I almost expected him to because he didn't get to go to PAX East because they denied his table. And this was something for everybody. PAX East was a very commercial event, almost like E3, you know, not nearly as large as E3, but it's commercial. They're basically pussying out to all of the gaming companies that want their attention, and there are no, like, custom merchandise people. I mean, like, if you go to, like, Magfest or Too Many Games, you'll find custom merchandise. People selling, you know, stick-on-the-wall figures, they're selling old games. But when you go to PAX East, there's none of that. There's no customization at all. The only things that I actually bought at PAX East was a PAX East 2012 t-shirt, and I don't really know when the fuck I'm going to wear that because it's just the PAX East logo, so that's kind of worthless. But, I mean, that's the only stuff that they were selling, PAX East merchandise. They weren't selling custom merchandise, and I'm like, well, why? I don't understand that. It doesn't really make any sense. So that's something that I didn't like about PAX East, just to skip to that. But what I did like about PAX East, to answer Phil's question directly, I liked how they had a lot of the new games. They did have a larger display of games. I honestly thought they could have had more games. I felt as like, you know, they didn't have anything for Halo 4. They didn't have anything really for BioShock. They did have a panel for BioShock, but they didn't have any display for BioShock. I really felt they could have displayed more games, but I did enjoy going to the games that I saw. Like, watching the Assassin's Creed 3 gameplay preview was probably the most fun that I had at PAX. That was awesome seeing that gameplay. I mean, nobody has seen it before, but I really think that was really cool. So, but let's see, what else? There was Max Payne, which I didn't get to see. There
Borderlands
was
2. Woo.
Which
Yeah.
no, fuck Borderlands 2. That fucking guy.
I think
Oh my god, you made me choke. I was drinking water right now, and you just made me
that's
choke right
a
now.
that's a subscriber secret there for
God.
anyone that follows the Lord.
Yeah, go watch the last part, the acquisition video of PAX East 2012. Go watch that video, alright? Basically, to make it long story short, I'm filming at a live, on-the-floor showing, because here's the thing. For Assassin's Creed 3, they made it obvious they didn't want anyone filming it, okay? They closed the doors, they had like 10 people standing guard making sure nobody filmed. It was obvious. Borderlands 2? There was nobody. There was no sign. There was no anything. There was nobody there enforcing that you couldn't take footage. And it was open. It was right in the middle of a huge line of traffic cycling through PAX. So I guarantee you, lots and lots of people got footage of Borderlands 2. And the funny thing is, if you search right now on YouTube, you'll see all the footage. There are so many freaking videos for Borderlands 2 up. Why are they being so secretive? So basically what happened was I was filming Borderlands 2 from the sidelines, 5 minutes of footage, and then all of a sudden, once I'm about to stop the camera, and this guy comes up to me, he's like, "What are you doing? You can't film." I'm like, "What the fuck? This is on the showroom floor." I didn't say that to him, but then he's like, "Oh, now I gotta see you delete it." I'm like, "What? Are you kidding?" I was about to take the camera and shove it up his ass. I really was. So
Wow. Now someone should have recorded that. Now that's something you want to see.
basically, I discussed it with my father afterwards, and we're like, I should have refused. Like, what's he going to do, try to kick me out? No, he can't do that because it was a public showing. I have the right to film. Assassin's Creed 3, I didn't have the right to film because they made it obvious that I couldn't film. This guy didn't. So basically, I'm thinking of not even playing Borderlands 2. That's how much that guy pissed me off. He made me delete a video off my camera that I could have A, made money on, and B, shown the fans. So basically, I'm I don't know who made Borderlands 2, but I'm basically giving the middle finger to them because I absolutely hate the guy who told me not to do that, and I hate Borderlands 2. So I might not even get Borderlands 2, so don't be surprised if I don't play it. That was completely insulting because most of the time when I upload gameplay footage of something, I'm trying to promote the game. Like Max Payne 3 or Assassin's Creed 3. I'm trying to promote the game and show people, oh, you can buy the game because it's really cool. Oh, you don't want me to show footage of your game? Fine, then I'll give you the big middle finger, and now you can go cry to your CEO when sales for Borderlands 2 are losing out to games like Grand Theft Auto 5 and BioShock. There you go.
By the way, and to answer that question a few seconds ago, the ones who are making Borderlands 2 is Gearbox.
Gearbox. Well, fuck Gearbox in the ass with a soda can.
You know, I knew you were going to go off on a rant when I said that.
That is hot, man.
I mean, you make a good point when you say that you're promoting the game by making a video of it. I recently, not to go off topic or anything, I recently read it's like a review of a game called Waves, and it's like a stick shooter, kind of like Geometry Wars. If you ever played that? And it was made by an indie developer, and he was saying what went wrong with it. And one of the main reasons he made was that if you typed it into YouTube, the number one thing was Total Biscuit's WTF is. I don't know if you've ever watched anything like that. But he was saying because of the fact that Total Biscuit didn't like it, 150,000 people now didn't like it. And it was stupid because it wasn't that. It was the fact that as long as the footage is up there, you are now introducing everyone that watches that video, so that you're making thousands more people aware that that is out there. And it's just like...
Yeah, I agree. I think that's wrong. That's wrong that people would hate a game just because Toby Games said it sucked. Who the fuck cares what Toby Games thinks? The fucking guy had a channel that didn't even have anything to do with video gaming, and then all of a sudden he sees that video games are getting popular, and he records himself and people think it's hilarious, and he has like 1 million views. Fuck Toby Games, honestly. He is one of those people who just manipulates his subscribers, almost like Whitest Boy 7th Street. That's why I hate people like that.
Yes, I watch a lot of White Boy, and I don't even want to start ranting about that dude.
He's always in your face. Like this video, it helps me. Favorite this video, it helps me. Put you on your channel.
And then go sis, and look, I'm a goat.
You guys subscribe to me, man. Click the subscribe button, and you'll get.
Basically,
although the one thing that the one thing that I was sad about is that his house was broken into, and the little shrine he had about his parents was completely destroyed and defiled. That's one thing that I was sad about it.
That's the only thing.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the guy is basically this pathetic guy who's like in his 20s and 30s. Probably he like never shaves. I don't know what this guy's life is, but from the video, I just watched a couple of videos. I was just like, all right, who the fuck is this guy? People keep talking about him, and it's just sad. It's honestly sad because people get aroused by people who fail at life. Why do you think Jersey Shore is such a popular show? Because it showcases a bunch of losers, a bunch of idiots who have no lives, who yell at each other and are complete fuck-ups. And people love that. They love to salvage
drama.
That.
They love drama. They love drama.
They fucking love it. Exactly. They fucking love it, and they take it in. All these, Hollywood producers and stuff take advantage of that, and now this is why I hate these YouTube commentators. They take advantage of the drama bullshit, and they make their channels revolve around it. That's why I hate commentators like that, and that's why someone like Darkside Phil, someone like myself, we just put the footage up. If people want to watch it, great. If they don't, oh well. That's a very simple attitude, and it shows on your part that you're a good person, that you're not trying to suck the views out of people, suck the money out of people. I think it's wrong that somebody like Whitest Boy would do that, but whatever. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about him.
So now that we've gone from gaming conventions to White Boy 7th Street, maybe we should go out to gaming conventions, and I'd like to ask you, what are the most outstanding moments? So maybe you could go into that one thing you mentioned before about meeting a certain someone.
Who? What? Who did
Wait. What were the most outstanding moments of gaming conventions that have happened?
What's your favorite part?
What stood out for you?
What did you mean when you said meet a certain somebody?
I think you met some guy called Phil or something. I don't know. Some guy.
Then just say that. I didn't know we were moving on to how I met Phil. I didn't know that.
Awkward.
So is that what you want me to talk about?
Yes,
How I
we
met
might
Phil?
as well let the cat out of the bag. The podcasters that listened this far, they want to know, how did the Aireaid Lord meet Darkside Phil?
All right. So I've talked about it already in the podcast a little bit. I was a fan of his in 2008. I stumbled across his videos when I was searching for the evil endings of Fallout 3, because in 2008 Fallout 3, that was one of my favorite games. I was playing it, and I had done the good side, and I'm like, well, what's the evil side? So I searched it on YouTube, and I come across this guy who tagged his video with horrible, worst, bad, sucks, and I'm like, well, why is it tagged that? So I see this video of him playing Fallout, and I guess he was he actually admitted to me that he was drunk during a lot of those videos. So it was basically him. It was him pressing the trigger on the vault door, the last mission of Fallout 3. So he kept closing the door on himself, and the place kept blowing up. And he wanted to get the specific ending, so he was flipping out. He's getting frustrated, and I was in tears watching this video because he was just getting so angry at the game. Just he couldn't understand why it just wasn't working for him. And then he finally understood it. So it was funny, and from that moment I was just hooked on his videos, and I thought they were the funniest fucking thing. So I stayed up with them. I didn't watch every video. I only watched like a couple of parts and stuff, and I followed his life, what happened to him, YouTube, haters hating on him, getting him kicked off, and all that, the glorious history of Darkside Phil, I guess if you want to call it that. And basically, in 2010, as I said, I started the channel, and I made the remix, the first one, We Didn't Start the Fire. He favored that video, and he thought it was really cool. And then, because of the whole Blip TV situation, he ended up doing a lot of fan appreciation. So he did, like, Black Ops fan appreciation. He did another Black Ops fan appreciation for the Super Bowl. He ended up doing a lot of fan interactivity because he admitted this to me. Basically, what happened was, because of the dire situation, basically him realizing, with no job and Blip TV fucking him in the ass, he needed people watching him. Like, he desperately needed it. So doing all of this interactive stuff was really, was really helpful, and it was a really big driving thing for him. So I took advantage of it. I was in every single fan appreciation. I think almost every one. I was in almost every single one playing with him, and every single match I just talked to him a little bit more, just got to know him a little bit better, just kept talking to him. And then I think for like Homefront, when we were sitting in the lobby, I explained my book, and I explained to him how I could ship it to him, and he thought it was really cool. And then finally, I was planning on meeting him at Too Many Games, but I was unable to go to Too Many Games because it's like 7 hours away in frickin' Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere. So
that's where I live.
In the middle of nowhere or Pennsylvania?
No, I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, are you going to go to Too Many Games? I'm going to be going this year.
I might actually. I'm thinking of it.
Oh, well, you can go, and you can meet us, the whole Dark Side Phil crew. I'm actually going to be at their table selling the book, but not to get sidetracked. Yeah, not to get sidetracked.
Too many games?
Not to get sidetracked. We'll discuss this later.
Yo,
yeah,
when it's Too Many Games, I completely
June,
forgot.
the middle of June 15th to the 17th.
There you go.
Okay. I'll see if I can get myself a plane ticket and go there, because I've been wanting to go to Too Many Games, but I've been so damn busy over here that I haven't had the time.
Yeah, maybe Hazzer and I could book flights over there and all,
Yeah, it's only 700 quid round trip.
Yeah, so since
for PETA it's gonna be like £1,000.
Yeah.
That's
it's gonna be crazy. Anyway, right?
So since I couldn't go to Too Many Games, I decided to go to Kineticon, which was a local convention in Hartford, Connecticut, which was. It really didn't have anything to do with video gaming. It was mostly cosplay and anime. So I went to Hartford, Connecticut, and I just went the Saturday, and that's when I officially met Phil. He came in the afternoon, and I just started talking to him, and it was, I said, I'm the Aireaid Lord on YouTube, and he instantly knew. He's like, oh, yeah, you on YouTube, yeah, it was cool, you were in my matches. So I was talking to him, and I was just talking to him more, and then, we exchanged cell phone numbers, and he was telling me stuff about his life that not a lot of people know, and it was cool. That's how we got to know each other. It was just us talking, and we just got to know each other. And I filmed his Street Fighter match, and then John Rambo and OJ had some sort of argument, so I ended up filming with his camera when he was playing Street Fighter for a tournament, and it was cool. It was a really awesome experience. And then in August, the next map pack for what was it? I forget what it was called. I think it was the next map pack for Black
Call of
Ops.
Duty Black Ops.
Yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops. It was Resurrection, and I sent Phil a message on my phone. I said, "You want to play it?" And he responded. He said, "Sure, we could do that." So I ended up playing that with him and Koruchado. And one of my friends and one of my fans, the Reaper, who I don't know if you guys know who he is, the Reaper 9512. I consider him one of my longest time fans. He started watching my content when I did my first playthrough, so he's basically one of my longest fans. I don't know if you know who he is, but basically him, Koruchado, Phil, and myself, we all did Resurrection. And what happened was the Reaper eventually had to leave, so then it was just the three of us. So we were trying to get the Easter egg in the Resurrection map pack, and what happened was Koruchado's internet went out. You can actually, if you look at my videos and Phil's videos, you can actually see the history of this happening. And Koruchado made a video of it too, and he was so angry that his internet went out. So basically his internet went out and he dropped from the game. So then it was just Phil and myself. So basically, we were stuck in this lobby for like an hour just talking, and we were talking, how are we gonna, tell people that Koruchado left, and what are we gonna do about the Easter egg, because now we can't get it because there's only 2 people. So once we discovered that, I was searching on YouTube for things that we could do, and then I talked to him more. That was another opportunity for me to talk to him more, and then we attempted to do the Easter egg a little bit more, and then we died, and then that was the end of it. So that night, I uploaded all my footage, and then the next morning, I get up, and I have like 500-plus subscribers, and I'm like, whoa, where did all this come from? And I check on Phil's page, and he actually added me to his other channel section, and I'm like, wow, that was really nice of him. I didn't ask for that at all, and I really think, that was a really nice thing for him to do, and, it was nice of him. It was really, really nice of him, and I was, thankful for that. And when I sent the book, so it's just building, all this stuff that I did, meeting up at the conventions, meeting him through his game playthroughs. I just built a friendship, and he just thought I was a cool person, and he just responded positively to it. So that's really all it was to it. And now, I guess I can make the big reveal if you guys want me to reveal the big thing with Phil. If you want.
Yeah, go for it.
The secret information.
Yep, I am
classified information, man.
Basically for today is the release date of Project 7 Episode 3.
Woo!
But this summer, or at some point later on in the year, I am going to be an actor on Project 7.
Awesome.
Wow, congratulations.
Mind blown.
Good job.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a guest on Project 7. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I did tell Pete some stuff that there were some ideas that I threw out to him. It wasn't all official. Like I was saying some stuff that I'm not going to say. It was kind of they were funny concepts. It was all stuff that I pitched it to Phil and I said, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Man, maybe we could do that." But he had ideas roaming around in his head, so we're really not sure. So I know I'm going to be an actor on the series, but I don't really know what I'm going to be doing. So all I can tell you is that I'm going to be an actor on the show, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So that's going to be awesome, and it's going to be more exposure. It's going to be awesome to act with these guys and do all sorts of cool, funny things. Project 7's been going really well so far. Just recently, they've added lots of new actors. Episode 3 has OJ in it. If you guys didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's good that OJ is gonna get some fame out of it.
Yep, and then they also have.
I consider it more mature than John Rambo. No offense to John Rambo if he's listening to this, of course.
And who else is going to be on it as well? Isn't it like their high school friend or something? Like he was in it.
They have a professional actor on it, and I don't know who he is. There's somebody. It's just somebody they know. It's a professional actor. I don't know who he is, but it's a professional actor who basically has these really good acting skills that I think is going to add to it. And then every once in a while, they have Paul and Andre come on the show from Respect the Pact every once in a while. And basically what Phil told me. Now this isn't really spoiling anything, but what he said is he's looking to have more guests. and he's actually looking to have fan interaction with Project 7, like maybe showcase them and their reactions to Phil getting his power stolen, stuff like that. So he has lots of good ideas. I don't want to spoil them, but what I can tell you is that he's looking for fan interactivity with Project 7.
Well, there you go. If you listen to the podcast, you got that exclusive information. So,
yeah, you can only get on the
yes,
on the King
only
podcast.
exclusive.
Yeah, exclusively for the podcast only.
Exactly. So we got a good selling point here. So that's pretty good. So okay. So you've talked about meeting Phil and about all your interactions with him, all the playing games and stuff. Now, okay, obviously this has to be addressed. Okay. Whenever you started making videos of your trips with DSP and you hanging about with him, you seem to have been getting a bit of a backlash from DSP's followers who proceeded to think you were a third whale, who proceeded to think, oh, they don't want you there, what are you doing? You're just a big massive DSP fanboy. Now, where did you see this first come about, pretty much? Where did you first...
That first came when I think the biggest indicator of when it was first coming up was when I did Assassin's Creed. What the fuck? Oh, my email just exploded. My email just erupted. What the fuck? Oh, someone bought the book. Who just bought the book? Some dude just bought.
I did.
Offered to the podcast.
Good
That-
one.
That was pretty. All right. Well, thank you for the payment. I'll try to. Do you live in England or do you live here?
I live in UK, yeah.
Wait a minute.
All
Oh
right.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm
Are
gonna
you
have to.
seriously bought the book?
All right. Anyway.
Yeah, I bought the book.
He did. All right. So I'm gonna have to figure that out how I'm gonna get it to the UK now. But anyway. What was I talking about? Oh, DSP holders. Basically, the first indicator of it was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood in 2011. I was talking into the mic and I was trying to be funny, and people were like, "Who is this guy? Why is he talking? Stop talking. We don't care about your videos. Blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Okay, who the fuck cares?" I kind of did care because I was kind of anxious. It's like, "Oh, why do all these people hate me? I'm trying to make people have a good impression of me. Why do all these people hate me now?" So I was a little concerned. And then the largest thing that happened was basically after Phil put me on his main page and I did all the resurrection footage, people were saying, "Oh, this guy's annoying, he's cruel, he's an idiot, and he's making fun, and he's copying." And basically, I made this 19-minute video because I actually received a lot of hate mail on my Xbox Live, so I almost did like a friend request ridicule where I fun of all the people who sent me stupid messages. So you can still find that video. It was basically me raging and flipping out at all these people saying that I copied him. And
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it was I was yelling. I was livid, fucking pissed. And Phil actually watched the video and he's like, "Whoa, calm down." So he actually investigated and he actually blocked people who were insulting me. And then I get these people who are like, "Oh, you made DSP block me." It's like, well, stop fucking insulting me, you cocksucker. Won't get blocked. So that is the hate in a nutshell that I received. And even before I started doing these matches with Phil, people were saying I was copying him because they saw my remix that We Didn't Start the Fire, and I instantly drew the connection that I was connected to him. As soon as I made that remix, We Didn't Start the Fire, I instantly put myself into the Dark Side Phil world. I instantly said, okay, now I am associated with these guys. I instantly said that. So now people have this connotation. And you'll see, if you watch my gaming updates that I make each week, I'll always get at least one dislike. And the people are retarded because guess what? Every time you click on that video, it makes me money. So every time So next time I'm out on a date with a girlfriend or something and I have to pay for the bill, I'm going to be, "Oh, yeah, the haters gave me this money. Thank you very much." So, what a bunch of stupid fucks. So that's all I can say.
The irony hurts, man.
Yeah, the
that's
irony.
That they will never understand. That even though they're the one hating, they're actually the ones that are paying you money.
Yeah.
That's the same. It happened.
Irony.
It happened like a big, massive fireball when Phil started playing The Witcher 2. There was a massive backlash and hate when in the first 20 parts when he couldn't do anything right. and
Yeah.
it just brought like over like let's say like over 50,000 people from all around the damn web to his videos, insulting him, disliking the damn videos. And guess what, bitches? It actually gave him money. So, haha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same
Irony,
thing happened
man.
for me. I don't know if any of my fans know this, but when I played the Battlefield 3, the online multiplayer DLC thing that came out before the game was actually released, the funny thing is, I sucked at that game. I kept dying. I'm like, oh, it's the worst game ever. I get like 150 dislikes and like 3,000 views. I'm like, oh, thanks, that'll help.
It's the equivalent of like a hater walking up to you in real life, insulting you, and like giving you $1 and just saying, "Oh, I hate your videos, and here's $1," and then just leaving.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I
punch
hate
you in the
man,
face,
here's
but I
$20.
also want to give you a $5 bill. Here you go.
You know, I think
Hey, you guts,
like
man. Here's
a more
$10.
recent example of that, you know, this is just me showing my subscription loyalty, is whenever you play the Mass Effect 3 demo, I think, and then you got really annoyed about it, and then people were like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong with you?" Blah blah blah, all that there stuff. So you know,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. So okay, so that's pretty much it for the haters. You know, obviously, you know, is a no-brainer why they're insulting you. It's because they're all jealous. Obviously, you know.
It's something I'm never gonna. I right now on my channel I call it the Dark Side Phil curse because almost all the time it'll come up. You're copying Phil. You're copying Phil. So I'm like, all right, where's the block button? Where's the fucking, you know? It's like, it's ridiculous. I mean, I think more people have said that I copy Phil than I think any other insult I've ever received. I mean, even people who insult me in my personal life, it can't compare to the number of people who say I copy Phil. So I find it amazing, and our commentary styles are totally different. We both commentate on different things. I play different games. I mean, Phil didn't play Jak and Daxter. That's something I did because I'm a longtime fan of the series. So there's a lot of different things I've done on my channel that he doesn't do. So it's obvious that we don't copy each other, but people just get infuriated. People are jealous. That's the thing. They're jealous that I became friends with this guy. That's why if you go on the Magfest videos, you'll see all these people who are jealous and they're saying that I don't belong, that I'm a fanboy. They're jealous. They're jealous that I'm friends with these guys and they can't accept that fact. So they're going to go
in the video or in the comments?
in
the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people in the
Yeah,
video.
just walked up and said, "You don't belong," and then just left. Yeah.
You don't belong in this world.
It was probably the fat guy with the fan that I insulted at Magfest. If you guys saw that video, did you guys see that video?
Yeah, I saw that
No,
video.
I haven't yet.
It was
My-
a guy.
I have.
It was a guy who bought a Link in Zelda action figure for $275.
What?
I wanted to confirm it. I'm like, wait a minute, you paid $275 for that? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and then he shows it to me. He's like, well, of course I bought it because it's ultra rare. And then I whisper into the camera, and I'm like, oh, of course you bought it because you're a fucking nerd. and he didn't hear me.
It's
but OJ
ultra
was
rare.
Yeah, it was like, and people thought it was hilarious. I got like 8 likes, and everyone's like, oh, that's so funny. I'm like, all right, well, 1 minute you're hating, 1 minute you're saying I'm the best.
Ultra
But
rare. That's catchphrase.
So
Yeah, ultra.
So anyway, so we've talked about the haters, you know, the fact they're all jealous and you know, obvious jealousy. Now, one more thing back to Phil. What do you? We've already kind of talked about what you and Phil are going to do in the future, like how you plan to meet up at your gaming conventions. Like, obviously, people that they are upset because they do think, oh, you know, I wish I could have been that lucky, because you know, people think, oh, you're so lucky because you were just picked randomly to all of a sudden be friends with DSP and you still don't belong, you know, blah blah blah, all like the haters and stuff, and it kind of, and like, so do you plan on like doing any like future full playthroughs and stuff? Like, what games in the future are you hoping to play with Phil? Or, and like another thing is, where, like, how would you arrange play a game with Phil? Would you confront him like beforehand? Would you confront him like at the time? You might say, "Oh, I'm bored. Do you want to play some of this, some of that, etc."
Well, whenever I ask to play a game with him, it's usually a game that he needs to play. So I never. It's not like I go up to him and say, "Hey, you want to play Modern Warfare 3?" No, he's not going to do that. So basically, well, I mean, I have his cell phone number, so you know, it's not like on YouTube people send him a message and he doesn't read it. He always reads his text he gets on his phone. So I'll send him a message and I'll be like, you want to play, I don't know. Well, one game I'm really looking forward to is Black Ops 2 because I hear there's a zombie campaign.
Oh, wow.
And myself, him, and Coruchado, and possibly someone else. I don't know if it's going to be Panda Lee. I don't know if it's going to be my friend the Reaper. I don't know who it's going to be, but there's going to be another person with us playing the zombie campaign. I can't wait. That is going to be so fun playing that with him, and I think it's going to be really, really fucking fun to play that entire game with him. So I think it's awesome. And another thing, like, there are some times when I can't play with him, like Operation Raccoon City. I wanted to play with him, but he sent me a message and said, sorry, I'm filled up. You know, I have my girlfriend, I have Coruchado, and John Rambo wants to play this time. So if I had one extra slot, you could have played with us, but unfortunately.
I actually watched your Raccoon City playthrough, though.
What, the 6 parts with those guys who then threw me out because
yeah.
Thunder Rap?
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't you do a single-player playthrough, too? Like, it was just you?
No, I'm waiting. I have. There's a guy I met at Magfest. His name is Marcus. I don't know if you guys know him. I'm trying to get to play with him, but he's so busy. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to Operation Raccoon City. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna do it with fans. You know, it's not like I'm gonna say if any of my fans want to play, because it's not really a fan game. It's not like I'm doing triple F or fan appreciation. I'm doing, a co-op playthrough with friends, and I wanted to do it with my friend who's coming over in a couple of hours, actually, but unfortunately, it's not split screen. Capcom made the wild decision to have it only be online, so
Everyone
I don't
loves
know.
Capcom, man. There's just totally the rage these days.
I don't know. I think Operation Raccoon City is going to become the new Saints Row the Third, because for Saints Row the Third, if you're a fan of my channel, you'll know that I stopped playing that game because my friend Pdaaaawg had stuff going on in his life. I know do you guys know who that is, Pdaaaawg?
No.
He's a friend of mine I've known in my personal life for 5 years, and I've had him in a couple of playthroughs, and one of the playthroughs he was in was Saints Row, and we did 21 videos of it from when it came out in November to December, and then he just never played the game with me ever again, just because he was caught up with stuff. So I actually beat it last night with my friend the Reaper. We decided to do it. So I finished Saints Row, but now I find it ironic that I have yet another game that's lingering. So I don't know when I'm going to finish Operation Raccoon City.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything covered for for the Wacky World of DSP, unless any of you have any other questions.
Actually, you forgot about the fans control.
Yeah, no, we did. We talked about the.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we could move on to viewer submitted questions. Yes. So if for any of you that didn't know, I submitted a thread on the King of Hate forums where I said, for a week, I said you could submit questions to the Aireaid Lord if you want to ask. Some of them we've already covered in the interview, such as Phil's question we already covered. Some of them are absolutely flipping ridiculous, but I think we have enough questions to get us through. Now, first of all, I would like to thank Darkman for winning the prize, because last month, during...
Yes, I was about to mention that his question should be the one.
During the WrestleMania special, I hid a 5-second photo of Triple H in the podcast. Darkman was the first one to spot it, and therefore he won the chance to find out that it was the Aireaid Lord to be in the interview this week. And he was allowed to ask 3 questions before anyone else. So I'm going to ask you these 3 questions now that submit it. The first question that Darkman asks is, what is the most embarrassing thing that happened to you?
Let's see.
That's always a hard one.
It is. It's not like, I don't know. I mean, it would be very personal for me to say that. I think when I lived in New Jersey, I remember having a birthday party at this was probably one of the coolest arcades ever. It was like this, there was like this big pinball machine, and you had like these big foam balls, and it was like a castle, and it was for kids. And basically, I remember at my birthday party, there was this kid being an asshole. I wanted to fucking slug him in the face. And I tried to, at one point, he was pissing me off so much that I tried to hit him. And he ended up throwing me into, like, one of the game machines, and it, like, really hurt my back. And I got fucking pissed. So I kicked him, and he, like, fell backwards. And then our parents stopped us. But I was just, like, I was crying, and I was upset. And I'm like, oh, it hurt because he hit me into the pinball machine. But other than that, I don't really know if there have been any other embarrassing moments. I'm trying. If I think long enough, I would probably come up with one. I mean, people have harassed me in like school and stuff in the past and have tried to fucking make a fool out of me, but I've always stuck to my guns. I don't fucking fall for that shit. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm a good public speaker, so it's not like I fucked up saying anything or something. So that's probably the most embarrassing moment, being thrown into a pinball machine by this asshole kid who's probably in juvie right now.
The second question that Darkman asks is, as you're an author, I am sure that you spend some time reading. What is your favorite book and why?
My favorite book. Well, this is actually interesting because unlike most oh my god, I just fucked up my English. Unlike yeah, I said unlike most authors. I said a most. Anyway, unlike most authors, I don't really. It's not like I have a like all the time I'm asked, "Oh, who's your favorite author? Who's your favorite genre? Who's your favorite this and that?" Well, it's not like I took all of my inspiration. Like I said in the podcast, and if you've been watching this long and didn't just skip to the end, I explained how a lot of my inspiration comes from my favorite TV shows, from my favorite movies, from my favorite stuff. I mean, it's not like, I do read books. One of my favorite book series was the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan, even though the movie was a complete and utter fucking failure.
Agreed.
Yeah. That movie pussied out to Hollywood, and if my book ever was a movie, I would demand that the correct director directed the movie, and B,
Which would
that it
be
was on
me.
Chris Nolan, probably. I would ask first if he would want to do it, because he likes to go on his own ideas, like Inception, The Dark Knight. Those were all his decisions. So he would have to go by my book, so it would be different for him. So I would definitely ask, though, if I ever got to that stage.
Okay, so the third and final question that Darkman was allowed to ask is, has DSP ever raged towards something that you have did in a video game with him? So an example being...
Oh, I'm surprised. Somebody caught on. Two things. You can actually look for this. In part 9 of our co-op playthrough for Uncharted, DSP, his mic wasn't working. And because the PlayStation mic sucks, and I know all the PlayStation fanboys are like, "Oh my god, you're not doing it correctly, that's why it sucks, you suck." It's like, no, your mic sucks shit, it doesn't work. Bluetooth doesn't work with PlayStation. So his mics, he tried like 6 mics, they weren't working. So I was asking a whole bunch of times trying to help him, and then in part 9, I asked one more time, and he's like he kind of made, I think he wasn't really angry at me. He was angry at the fact that he couldn't communicate with Corochado and myself. So he made a statement. He's like, "Oh, why is he asking? Obviously he knows that it's broken." So that was one thing. And then I kind of cleared it up with him, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, I didn't really mean to say that. I was just angry because we couldn't fucking talk to each other." So that wasn't really much. And then when we went out to eat, what was that?
Yeah, there's some noise.
Oh,
but...
something like... Yeah,
it's okay.
Up there. Yeah, go ahead, continue.
Yep. The second moment was when I went out to eat with him, and there was 10. I don't know if you guys know the story, how there were 10 people Saturday night at Magfest, and we wanted to go see a concert, and we ended up having to wait 2 hours to get our food at a restaurant. There were 10 people. 2 of the people shouldn't have been there because they were fans that didn't ask permission to go out with him, and I was fucking pissed. It's like, yeah, I was like, "Look, I asked Phil, I'm like, look, is it okay if I go out and eat with you guys?" And blah, 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 blah. And he said, "Sure, that's fine." These guys, "Oh, I guess I'll just go with Phil." It's like, dude, you should have asked first. That's not correct. It's not, really moral or anything. So I was kind of livid. And basically, the bill was $314 when we went out to eat Saturday night.
Wow!
Oh my gosh.
And basically, he passed the check around and had us put in money. And then we weren't adding up. Like, everyone was supposed to put in a correct amount of money. I put in money, everyone else did, but we weren't counting up to the correct amount. So Phil was getting frustrated that we didn't have enough money, and I asked, and I said, I asked him I think I asked him a question like, "Can I help?" or something, and Phil was kind of just so angry at the time of what was going on. He told me to calm down. He's like, "I don't know, man, just calm down right now. I'm trying to count the money." So that was the only other time he kind of got mad at me. But other than that, that was the only time he really got. He doesn't really get angry with me. It's just stuff that happens that frustrates him. And then when when more people talk about it, he's like, it's almost like he doesn't want to be reminded.
And then he took it out on you.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be reminded of it. So it's kind of like, yeah. So I didn't take offense. He didn't do anything wrong. Don't misunderstand. It's just stuff that happens.
It happens.
we later found out the reason why and I actually went to him and I said, "Are you okay? You know, you got angry earlier." And he's like, "Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. Somebody put in $0 for the food. Someone didn't pay it all." This was for Magfest. Magfest 2012, Saturday night. There was a guy who put in $0.
Wow. So we just got a free meal and like DS paid for it.
Yeah, so I'm like, maybe it could be the guy who tagged along who wasn't supposed to. So I raged at him. When I made my review video of Magfest, I was like, that's unright. It's not right that guy did that. And of course, all the haters, they were like, "Oh, it's your fault. You're the one who didn't put in money. It's obviously your fault." It's like, yeah, okay. It's okay. It's my fault. Just say it's my fault.
Joey,
so I get more money because you're
happened
fucking
to the money? Like, how did they pay it if some guy didn't pay for it?
He passed the checkbook around. It was a table, and it was a square table. It was like a rectangle table, and there was 10 people. There was Darkside Phil, John Rambo, OJ, Howard, two members from Respect the Pack, Marcus, myself, and then 2 fans.
So like how much money did it like come to then, and then like
$314. He passed the checkbook around. And basically, we just put our money in, and Phil counted it, and he's like, "Wait a minute, this is not adding up even close to $314." And then he counted it like 4 times, and he got so frustrated, and he's like, "You know what? Fuck it, I'm done." He took out money from his wallet, threw it on the table, and stormed out because he wanted to get to the concert. And you'll know if you go to his year 2000X videos, it'll say in the description, "I was late to this concert." That's why. That's why he was late.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that's why he was late because nobody put in the correct amount of money, so he kept counting it like 10 times, and he got fucking frustrated, and he just walked out, and nobody followed him, so he was pissed.
All right, so this is another insider story only for podcasters that listen to this. Okay, the next question, which this is actually going into a thread now. A bunch of these questions have already been answered, and a bunch of them are flipping stupid. So the next viable question is from a Golden Shotgun, and he asks, Do you watch anime? And if you do, what animes are you watching now or recently watched?
Well, I don't really have time to watch anime. The only TV show I really follow is Family Guy, just because I think it's so fucking funny. I mean, it's a truthful show, but at the same time, it's hilarious. So I don't know if that's really considered anime. It's probably not. I mentioned earlier in the podcast how I used to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that
show's amazing. I love it.
I already talked about it, dude. Why didn't you speak up when I said it earlier?
Oh wait, I think I might have been gone that time.
You just left.
Because I had to get some...
That's good.
Oh well.
All right, yeah. I was explaining how that had some inspiration for some of the stuff.
Oh wait, no, I did hear about that. I just wasn't. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so I watched Avatar, and actually it's funny. They have a new series, The Legend of Korra, and I don't really have time to watch it. I watched the first episode, and it kind of seems a little cliche. Like it didn't really stay true to the original series, and I'm like, it's okay. It's not really the best.
Seems like they went to the safe part. Like they sort of went the safe route and all that. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm, you know.
What's that? The Legend of what?
Korra. It's the Avatar series by Brian and Mark, I think their names are, who made the series.
Are you talking about the Avatar the movie, or the Avatar The Last Airbender from Nickelodeon?
No, not the movie. The movie sucks ass. It's worthless. Don't go see the movie. I'm talking about the TV show, dude.
Yeah.
From The Last Airbender. So there's a brand new series, from a second part.
Yeah, it's like the sequel, but it takes place 80 years after the events of the first one. Yeah, so I used to like watching the Avatar show, and I was really into it. It was my favorite show that had a great story to it and had inspiration for my book at the time I was writing it. So that's why I just mentioned it. And then another anime series was Yu-Gi-Oh, the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, like the English version.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
God. The original is the best one.
Freeway Bro Fist.
Yeah, I like the 5Ds, but it started fucking up when it came the GX, and then it fucked up completely when they introduced the synchro monsters and 5Ds, where you have to play dual monsters on stupid motorcycles, which makes completely no sense at all.
Card games on motorcycles.
Yeah, I stopped as soon as the original Yu-Gi-Oh series ended. I stopped watching it because at the time I was falling out. Like in 2005, I sold all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so it coincided with the end of the original Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I just stopped watching it altogether. But I remember days, like, I remember when I went to Taekwondo and I would tape the Yu-Gi-Oh episodes on a VCR tape, and I would tape them. I remember watching, like, the Noah Arc series, and I remember watching that, the Virtual World. I remember watching that. It was funny. I remember all those memories, and my friends would play the game, and we'd watch the show. I have all those memories, so...
You know...
So those are my...
A quick little Yu-Gi-Oh TV show question. Who was your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh duelist?
Yami Merrick. That guy was fucking insane.
I don't know.
Yes.
But I always seem to have a soft spot for Pegasus whenever he was on. And,
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Wonderfully
I have a Yu-Gi-Oh question for everyone. What is your favorite duel? Which is your favorite monster? For me, my favorite is Slifer the Sky Dragon.
Oh, I was gonna say Slifer. How dare you?
Same here.
Suck it.
Okay.
We should just have like one segment where we
Yeah,
just
okay,
talk
alright,
about
welcome to
cards
the
and
Yu-Gi-Oh
shit.
section of the interview, and everyone's just gonna talk about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Well, these
Yes.
are all memories. I haven't stayed up on this stuff, but I do have memories of this stuff from years ago when I was competitive with it. My favorite card, like, I would win tournaments, so my favorite card to use was Jinzo, because he would fucking annihilate trap cards, so I would always use that as my killer at the end. So that was always my signature move, to pull out Jinzo at the last minute. I still remember this one guy who I used a magic card, like Change of Heart or something, to steal his monster, and I sacrificed it for Jinzo, and he had a trap to stop me, but Jinzo completely fucked him, so then I killed him and I won.
Like a boss.
Every time I play Yu-Gi-Oh, I still have the deck myself. Every time I play Yu-Gi-Oh, people just get pissed off and just starting to get away from me because I specialize in using a tune deck, just like Pegasus, and people just started raging at me and saying, "Don't you fucking dare into the tournament, or else we're gonna kick your ass." And guess what? I'm in a tournament and I kicked their asses to win first place. Everybody just hated me using Toon Monsters because Toon Monsters are so OP, they're good, and besides, they look fucking awesome.
Yeah, Yugi boy. Didn't that have Pegasus?
He is wonderfully bisexual. Ah,
Yeah.
I just love wonderfully.
Okay,
That
did you know
campness that he has.
the voice actor who did Pegasus did a song called Face Up, Face Down. It's a song on it's honestly it actually has a pretty good beat to it, but it's a song they released with the Pegasus guy singing this song. It's actually a hilarious song. I thought it was really fun.
Okay, alright, okay. We're gonna have to sidetrack off Yu-Gi-Oh here because that was like 5
Sorry.
minutes.
Thanks for watching the Yu-Gi-Oh section
Yeah,
of the
check out the
interview. We hope
Yu-Gi-Oh
you enjoyed that.
podcast later today. No, okay. We're really over scheduled, so I'm afraid I'm gonna have to skip some of these questions. Some of them we've already kind of went over. For example, Troll Drill asks what games and movies are forward.
I have one question that I really wanted to ask the Aireaid Lord. Have you played any kind of games that are very similar to Shenmue or the Yakuza game line?
I don't know what either.
I think Shenmue is another pronunciation for the first one. I think Shenmue for the Dreamcast, I believe. It's kind of like GTA, but with all the guns and stuff. And
I don't really know what those games are.
well, maybe they're kind of like Roman games. But
Wow.
anyway, okay. So Troll Drill just asks. Okay, we don't really have much time, so just try and compile a
Well, you
quick
got about
list
10
of
minutes.
what games are you looking forward to this year.
Assassin's Creed. Oh, I've kind of said them. Assassin's Creed 3, BioShock Infinite, GTA 5 if it comes out. Black Ops 2 because I'm gonna do it with Phil. Let's see.
Not
what
much
other
full
games?
hope for Borderlands 2.
Halo 4. Fuck Borderlands 2 in the ass. I'm not playing it, and that's it.
Just a little quick thing. Beyond the Revolution Omega or Chaz in the forum. He was supposed to be doing the podcast, but unfortunately he had to work at this time. But he just said he respects you, which is very nice of him. That's a good question. Mr. Picture asks a pretty good question, and he says, did you ever consider doing a top 20 or 50 of best games ever played? It would probably mean a lot towards the fans, and most of us would even play these games. Greetings from Hall.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, a lot of my fans ask this. You have to understand, in late 2011, I'm like, all right, this is my first official year on YouTube, okay? in 2010 I started the channel, but I didn't make videos. So 2011 was the first actual time I was making videos. So I'm like, all right, I played all the games in the year mostly. I can kind of give my opinion on them, but for Christmas vacation, I was going away to Florida with my family, so I'm like, well, now I don't have time to make any videos, so, and I didn't want to bring my laptop on the plane, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to wait, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, after I come back from Florida, I'm going to Magfest the next week, so I had, like, no time. I didn't have any time to make them, so I actually had some time when I came back from Florida before Magfest. I made my funniest moments. I made like a montage of the funniest moments on my channel, and that is the only like ending video, kind of the video that ended 2011 and started 2012 for my channel. So that's the only year-end video I made. And again, here's another thing. I guarantee you, if I made the top 10 series for my games, guess what would have happened? Haters would have come up and said, "Oh,
haters gonna hate."
Yep, exactly. So, it takes a lot. I mean, you have to understand, using Sony Vegas to edit these videos and stuff, it's a lot. I gotta use the mic, I gotta take footage. It's a long fucking process. And combined it with going to Florida and going to Magfest, it just wasn't gonna happen, so.
And I guess the final question I'm going to ask is from Henjo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Any of the other podcasters, if I got that wrong. Henjo, is that it? Okay,
Henjo.
well, Henjo asks, do you ever find yourself playing older retro games? And if so, which ones would you go back to?
Oh, okay. Well, are you gonna ask me the question about the blondes or brunettes, or are you gonna say
okay, if you really want to, what type of...
We might. Why not? Why not now?
Yeah,
Let's go
go
ask
for it.
it.
All right, so blondes or brunettes, Aireaid Lord?
Brunettes. Or redheads.
Or redheads. Heads. Or white.
Well, how about both?
Both what? Both what? Because we asked 3: blondes,
All of
brunettes,
the
or
above.
redheads.
Come on.
Yep, that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Even gray?
Both. Both. That's it.
Or white-haired?
Both.
Okay, right.
Both what?
So, oh dear. Okay, so wacky, wonderful times in the King of Feet podcast. Okay, so anyway, yeah. Do you find yourself playing older retro games in Nitsuo? And if so, which ones?
Well, it's actually funny. Sony, and this is actually a smart move on their part, have been actually releasing a lot of the HD collections for a lot of these older retro games. So Jak and Daxter HD collection, the Ratchet and Clank HD collection is coming out. However, it comes out in Europe before it comes out in the United States, which is fucking awesome. A great choice on Insomniac's part. I don't know why they would do that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, like it's not that bad, right, Hazzer?
Yeah.
most games come out in the U.S. before
Yeah,
Europe,
that's
right?
the problem.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Is the
Here's
point.
us sitting here in the UK, stuck with no game to play 3
Seriously?
days.
Aireaid, Peter, and
When
Hazzer are
Massive-
from the
Yeah,
UK.
well, I'm from Ireland, but
When Mass
All
Effect
right. Well, you know
came
what?
out, I
Here's-
did not
I'm gonna
touch
put
the
this
internet
offer out.
for like 3 days.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna put this offer out real quick
Alright,
to
go
you guys, because this is actually serious. What I'm gonna ask right now. I really want to play the Ratchet and Clank HD collection for May 18th, but for the United States it comes out in September.
Whoa.
All right. I tried, and the shipping rates are fucking ridiculous for UK to America. So I'm gonna say this: if I buy the game in the UK, I'm gonna have it shipped to one of your houses in the UK, and then you can ship it to me to America, and I'll pay all the costs. How
I'll
about that?
happily
Does
do
that sound
that
like a
for you.
deal?
I'll happily do that.
If only
for
if I lived in.
I'm serious. I actually need someone to do that. I
Seriously?
want to play the game in May. Yeah. All right.
Seriously, I'll happily do it for you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Because honestly, I mean, it's I don't want to play it in September. You don't understand how many games are coming out when Ratchet and Clank HD Collection comes out in September. You got BioShock, you got Assassin's. I mean, there's so many games. I have no time. It really makes sense to do it now because think about it. Jak and Daxter just came out in February. Now I can do Ratchet and Clank 2 months later, so it works. It really works for my channel, and I would really be appreciative. And I'd give you a shout out to whoever helps me with that task.
But does a UK disc play on a US console? Does it?
Yeah, PS3 games are region free.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
Yep. So I would cover all the costs. I would pay whatever it is in the pounds. I'd pay it in the dollar. So I don't really know why I'm mentioning this on a podcast. But
Yeah.
just letting you know.
So I think is that pretty much. I think that's all the questions that we've got. Well, all the useful ones anyway. So I think that's pretty much it. So
Yeah, that's
so I
it.
just got a Skype message from some random guy, but so to conclude the podcast, the Aireaid Lord, where can we find your content? Where can we follow you? Where can we buy your book, etc., etc.? Go for it.
All right. YouTube.com/TheAireaidLord. You can find it on Darkside Phil's main page in his other channels section, or you can find it on the. I'm assuming you guys are going to put it in the description of this video. Yep.
Yes, we
Yep.
will.
So YouTube.com/TheAireaidLord. They can spell that for you, so you can just click on the link. TheAireaidLord.com is where you can purchase the book for $15, and then if you live internationally, it might be a little bit more. But if you live in the U.S., it's $4.95 for a flat fee, so $20 total for the shipping. And what else? What other websites am I missing? That's really it. My website and my YouTube channel. And I have a Twitter. You can follow me at TheAireaidLord on Twitter. It's spelled the same way, so you can follow me at TheAireaidLord on Twitter.
So, Aireaid Lord, Chris, thank you very much for being on the King of Feet podcast as the very first guest.
Yes, I already bought 50 copies of your
we
books.
appreciate it very much.
So, thank you. Hopefully, we can maybe get a bit more publicity and all this here. Well, I don't really want to make this some sort of full-time business module or something. I'm just doing this for the community to try and build a DSP community centered around this, and having a special guest such as yourself has really helped out in this year. So we do thank you for being the very first King of Hate.
Well, hold on a minute. Some communist, Kevin Kusangi, just sent me a freaking contact thing.
Oh my gosh. So already people are seeing the podcast there.
Kevin Kusangi, I don't know. You guys if you ever see him, you got to avoid him. Seriously, Kevin. Oh my god, that sounds like a horror thing anyway.
Hazzer, are you still live streaming this? Just out of curiosity.
No, I was not live streaming. I stopped.
Okay, well, alright.
What was the name again, Christopher?
Kevin Kusana Jaime Tubi Dambi Boozy. There.
Okay, so
I think you're mispronouncing it as Revan Kisanagi. That's me adding you.
I knew that. That was a joke.
Oh. Okay. So.
Awkward.
Number 2. Okay. Well. Okay. So back in track. Once again, I hope you had a good time, Mr. Aireaid Lord, Chris.
It's an honor having you on.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was really interesting speaking to you. I can't wait to read the book.
Pleasure.
I really can't wait.
I'm definitely gonna get the book though.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me guys on. And yeah, you can check out my content later. I'll have playthroughs tonight I'll have Modern Warfare 3 and
to all of you, King of Hate listeners, thank you. It is now 2.5 hours that it's been. I might split this video. I don't think I'm going to upload both of them at the same time. Unless you want to sit here and listen to 2.5 hours of content, but at the same time, I'm having this here dilemma where if I split the video, people will only listen to the interview and not listen to the actual bite-sized podcast. But I'm not sure what I'll do yet. I'll think about it whenever I'm editing the video. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this interview with the Aireaid Lord. As he said, one of the first if he does become a famous novelist, so people can be referring back to this here. And look forward to next week's podcast where we'll be talking about Project 7 and whatever big topic we may have back here. If you find the photo, you may also win a prize I have hidden in this podcast. So, for the final time, I wish to thank the Aireaid Lord for being a special guest on the podcast. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, until next week, I will see you guys later. Peace out.